welcome back to the channel. This time around, we're talking about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie on Netflix with Fede Alvarez. How you doing,
Hey,
my friend? I miss talking to you.
all good, all good.
All
Nice to talk
right.
to you like always.
We must start at, I guess, by going back a little, because you're no stranger to bringing back iconic horror franchises. So, were there any lessons learned on Evil Dead that you were able to apply to this new Texas Chainsaw movie?
Yeah, definitely that mantra of that film that was to do everything practical, to do everything on camera, right? I think it would be a terrible sin to take something, a title like that, a title like Evil Dead or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then suddenly having this like a digital look or just something that feels like too modern in a way or too technological when it comes to effect or still have some CG character. Oh my God, right? Like it's the last thing you want to see. And I think I always take sloppy, crazy, like kind of slightly campy special effects than any like polish, like super high end VFX, right? And I think that's what the audience wants to see as well. And as a fan, you want the real deal. So that was definitely one of the lessons learned because we saw how that pay off, and people always love that, and still today that's what they talk about when I talk about that film. So on day one of this film in production, I spoke with David Bull Garcia, the director, and I was like, that there's just one rule, it's like that there's no fake blood in this dojo, right? Like it's got to be all real. And he was like, yes, sir, and they went for that. So and I think really translated. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's one of those things that are simple to say but hard to do, really, because then it's a mess on set every day, and the resets are a nightmare, and it's a nightmare for everybody involved. But I think that's what makes the fun nightmare for the audience, right?
Thank you for going through all that trouble. You've got some gnarly and like beautiful. I think I called Evil Dead beautiful too, and it applies here
Yeah.
too. Like beautiful gore. I love it. Talking a little bit about the early stages, because probably no surprise, I've been following this film for quite a while now. So
Thank
I know things changed a bit early on in production. So can you kind of give us a sense of what the biggest difference between what was shot by the original directors and what we get in the final version of the film is?
There was nothing. They didn't get to really shoot much. I think they shot it for a couple of days, and that's when we realized it wasn't gonna be the way we wanted, and the thing changed. But so there's nothing. There might be. I think there's one. There might be one scene in the movie. I think at the very beginning when Lila goes and talk with Richter and they have the gun. I think that's what they shot, and I think they did a great job. I think that's a beautiful scene, and that is the only thing. Then the rest, it's all David. Yeah,
I'm just going to put up the spoiler warning now. We're going to run this after the movie is available, and I want you to be able to talk about all this other stuff freely right
yeah,
now. But bringing up that
right.
particular scene, it makes me think, like one significant story element of this movie that really stands out to me is the choice to address gun violence. So can you kind of walk us through, how that element came to be for this movie and how you settled on this particular way to incorporate it?
Um, the way we see it and the way we work with these themes is really it's just based on this. Is I'm Uruguayan, right? So I'm not from here. I was not born in the States. I came to the States for the first time when I was an adult, and I moved to the States just recently, maybe right after Evil Dead, 2013, something like that. So there's a few themes just that are constantly in the news, and people talk about they just slap you in the face as soon as you move here because they're things you never discuss in your country, right? Those are usually the things that are in the movie. So the movie, so in a way, for us as writers, we put all these themes that you kind of trying to thinking also about an international audience. You're kind of trying to explain them. It's like almost like if you're going to another planet, you're trying to explain what happens in America, and you're going to go, well, there's this obsession with guns and there's this gun violence and they have all these issues with this and this and that and that and that, and just talk about the things that normally is not as there are very American issues that you don't that I at least didn't deal with where I'm from. So in a way, it's like we're trying to put all these themes in the movie and trying to have Leatherface represents the hate that comes out of that. Right? It's for me. He represents that hate that come from fear, not the hate that is intellectual. If you watch the original movie, he's just like a kid that's scared that sees his people walk into his house and suddenly are terrified, and he's terrified of them, and he doesn't understand why they're wearing the clothes they're wearing, and where they came from, and just start killing them. I don't think, and it definitely out of some sort of like fear and hate combined. So I think is what Leatherface is like, the product of the tensions that come out of all the themes in the movie. That was the way you see it. So that's, and in a way also, I think definitely you do a movie that's called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and just in this day and age, I think it wasn't going to be called a massacre by just killing 5 people, and the shooting in a way at the beginning kind of shows that the fact that is, we live in times when massacres do happen, and that's why I think it also, even the movie, he needed to up the ante to earn the title, the word massacre in the title, and not being just 5 people, and just take it to the level of what happened in the bus scene, right? But that is our instinct with Roto. It's like to really, because it's such an American title, to bring all the themes into it and try to confuse the fuck out of you, with them. Try to really not make them clear and black and white. That's what we did in Don't Breathe. It was also talking about America and Detroit representing as a part of America, and really trying not to make it so clear that, well, these are the bad guys, these are the good guys, there's this theme, there's two sides of it, these people are wrong, these people are right. That's not, because that's not how the world worked for us. It's just, the world is fucking mess, and it's a gray, shades of gray, and there could be all sort of characters in both sides of the story. So that's the way we approach it. We want you to walk out of it and go like, wait, but I'm still don't have an answer, who was right and wrong? And because that is the way life works. I know that some movies do give you an answer, and they take a strong point of view. For us, in something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is a fucking horror, like a gruesome horror movie. Got to be chaotic, and it cannot be preachy. Like, it's not school time, right?
Bringing up how Leatherface responds to all these situations. So the movie didn't necessarily need this, but when I get obsessed about something, I've got to know every little detail. So did you ever come up with any backstory on how Virginia at the orphanage kind of kept Leatherface under control while he was living with her?
Yeah, and I don't think she did. I mean, honestly, if you watch the original saga, right, because this movie is part of that original saga that ran from the first movie until the last one before the reboot of Nispo, right? And in all those movies, up to Next Generation, I mean, they he never really dies. I mean, you could say at the end of part two, there's a grenade, but you don't really see the body, right? Like, and every other movie that starts says like, well, he never really got caught, and none of the family got caught. They always like keep resetting. So the way we saw it was like, he would probably run away after the events of the first movie. He went to the orphanage, like, he didn't go to the orphanage. He hid in some barn somewhere. Like, Mama find him there, like covered in blood, scared to death. Understood he was he saw he was mentally challenged. He understood he was abused by his family, and said like, okay, I gotta give this guy a break, and take him in, and took him in. But I don't think he stayed there, because otherwise those other movies wouldn't have not happened. I think, it's just that guy that gets in and out of rehab. Like, I think he stayed there some time. Then he went out for the events of part two. Then went back home. Then went out, and then at some point, when he was older, he just, his leg, that bad leg, wouldn't work anymore, and he's like, fuck, I just have to stay here, and he stayed put, and he's been a good boy for quite a while, and Mama finally kept him there for a long time, until the events of the movie. Right? But that's the way I see it.
Okay.
Hopefully, there's no. I mean, someone's gonna find a crack in that, but at least that's the way I see it.
For now, I'll tell you I buy it. I'll squeeze in one more question here. So we have to talk about Sally, of course. And I know you've said that, and you kind of just said it in your last answer too, that this movie isn't necessarily meant to erase the events of all of the previous films. And it certainly doesn't feel like that in the end. But the one big story detail that it really does change is Sally's situation. So, how did you come to the conclusion that this movie needed her return in it, and also, I guess, necessitated her experience since the original killings be changed?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the challenge for us was, how do we definitely wanted to see that encounter, just mostly because the character of Sally was there to kind of echo what could happen to Lila, someone that was a victim of violence when she was young, and obviously, I think for me, Sally's not a good example of what should happen to that person. She just consumed by it and just spent the whole life trying to find closure by just enacting more violence, right? And I think that's there's a moment that when that I love in the film when she's when she has reached her the end of her story, and she tells Lila that she has to stop running, otherwise she'll be hunted all her life. That they gotta take the different action, right? That she just runs and is scared, like then she'll be hunted by that idea all her life, and she does something about it. She does what she thinks she needs to do. So she was there mostly to echo like what could be like represent what Lila could turn into in the future and change the course of her story. But at the same time, in a standalone way, I think she was there also to find an ending that was more unconventional in a way that I think if anything, if any of us confront whoever is that devil in your life, that person that did something terrible to you, or that being a big thing, or even being just some boyfriend girlfriend that just dumped you and cheated on you. You hate it the day you spend your life thinking, the day that I find that guy, just gonna tell him and he's gonna hear it. In reality, it never goes anywhere. You just don't find the words, and whatever you do doesn't change anything, because the change has to come from within, not based on that encounter, right? So, in a way, I think that's what she discovered in the story. When she finally met him, she realized that she's not sure what she wants to do. She's To kill him will be anticlimactic. It's not what she was looking for. Just like blow his head off. She wouldn't find nothing on that. So I think what she finds is that she wants to be acknowledged. That she wants him to understand that what she did to her. But obviously, he's not gonna give her shit. Like, he's not that guy. He barely remembers her. That's the way we see him. To see it, like he doesn't even know who she is. She spent all her life thinking about him. The guy doesn't even know who she is, which is very different from Halloween in a way that as well. That having had that movie coming out so recently, I want to make sure that it was a completely different story. In that movie, like, Michael's obsessed with her, and that makes her a big deal, and can make her feel, well, he's obsessed with me. This is completely opposite. It's like the guy doesn't give a shit about her, and makes her journey like completely pointless, and that's what I think is more interesting, at least in this category. You go like, what the fuck just happened? Which again is what I want. To have people frowning, going like, what the fuck's going on, is one of my best reactions that I've known.
That reaction shot from her when she realizes that he doesn't remember, like, I didn't expect my heart to crumble that late in the movie when so much blood had been shed, so I dug that beat quite a bit. Alright, I'll
Thanks.
let you go, I know you got a lot to do today, congratulations on the movie, and hurry
Thank you.
up and make more so we could talk again soon.
Good. Thank you, Barry.